Welcome to Poly Table Talk, real love, real talk. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you for joining us. We are the Polyamorous, the few that love the many. On Poly Table Talk, we cover topics related to poly-based relationships from the Black community perspective. We talk about what polyamory is, what polyamory isn't, offering a wide range of unique and diverse opinions. Poly Table Talk is based on the concept of Kitchen Table Polyamory. Kitchen Table Polyamory is the idea that everyone connected in the polyamorous relationship can come to the table and talk about it openly. No secrets, no lies. We promote ethical non-monogamy, open and authentic communication. It's time to grow up if we want to bring out them toys. If we want to build community, invest in each other, and create long-lasting and loving relationships where everybody wins. Be sure to visit the website polytabletalk.com. Search our handle at polytabletalk on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. All right, we have a very special episode for you. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Yes, Poly Table Talk, real love, real talk. This is episode number 2. We're going through some frequently asked questions that we get.
Yeah.
And some interesting ones. So, I'm your host, Jay. This is
Kay.
And let's get into it. All right. So, let's see. What questions? Question number 1. Why did you decide to become open with your relationship to being polyamorous?
Get that a lot. Why did I decide to become open? I just wanted to get out of the ownership mindset that I had for all of my life in regards to relationships and love. And I didn't want to own him, own you, and tell you what to do and who to love and who to see. And I just wanted to get out of that. And I like the idea of building something with other people and moving into a different space.
Yeah, and it was really the same thing for me. I just wanted to build something with others, and that we were at a place in our relationship where we felt like it was a good place or a good starting point for building new relationships and inviting people in. We were very happy with one another. A lot of people think, oh, you're you're at each other's throat, or like, things weren't spicy enough in the bedroom. Like, no, all that was good. All of that's still good. It's just that 4 is better than 2, 3 is better than 2. So why not? And we are secure enough in our relationship that we felt, that was a good possibility for us to move into something. And we tested the waters before we definitely solidified that that's something we wanted to do.
Yeah, it was a long time coming. It was a 2-3 year conversation. We didn't just wake up one day and decide, hey, let's open up our marriage. So we definitely did the research, watched videos, read books, lots of talks. Lots of talks and negotiations.
Some short. Some very short. Some very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. One question we get from people as we're on dating sites or we meet people, how does it work? And they kind of just leave it like that. Like, how does this all work? Like, what is that? And when I hear this, I'll let you go first.
I went first on the last one. Wow. How does it work? I feel like for the most part, it works like any other relationship. You date. You get to know somebody. If you're having, if your partners are going to be outside of your home, I feel like it's pretty much like any other relationship. So that's kind of what I tell people for the most part.
You give them quick.
I do. I'm succinct and to the point.
Yeah. So when I get this question, how does it work? Your wife cool with this? Like, yeah. She definitely cool with it. In fact, she helps me get ready for my date sometimes, or suggests a cologne or whatever. But the way that it works is simple, like I meet somebody, I think they're cool and I like them and I think they'd be a good fit for what we're trying to do, meaning that they're either typically already interested in being polyamorous, or they just are super curious to the point where they just can't help themselves and they just want to kind of get to know us, and we'll go out on a date, if we, are dating together or something like that. But typically it's I meet somebody first, usually a woman. Cody will meet somebody, usually a guy, and that's kind of how it goes. From time to time we'll meet somebody together, you know what I mean, where it's a couple, or recently we met a couple and just kind of chopped it up or whatever. But yeah, so that's basically how that works. Usually I'm by myself and I just meet a woman. Cody's usually by herself and just meets a guy, or otherwise, and we'll kind of get into that in another question. But
and a lot of people, I get a lot like, oh, I've never done this before, but I've thought about it for a long time, or I've always been curious, or I've always wanted to do this, So even if they haven't been in a poly situation before, or been in an open relationship before, a lot of the guys I talk to say, I've always wanted to do this, I've always been curious about this or how it works. So a lot of people that I talk to, I feel like they use me for information, just to see like how it works. What are you doing? How does it work? How did you, all that. So, yeah.
It's only been like a few times that we've been out together, like that one party, like the first time we went out when we were like first poly, we went out and went to like this mingle night or whatever, like this meetup. They played board games. Remember that? And you like. You don't remember that?
No.
We played the sexes game. That
wasn't a poly meetup. That wasn't a poly meetup.
It wasn't a poly meetup. I didn't say it was a poly meetup. I said the first time we went out, we were poly.
Oh, right. Yeah, and I was trying to get you to get with the cutie.
Right. Okay. Oh, and then like there's a guy there that you like, and we were like, hey, do you like him? Right. Or whatever. Like, cool, go do you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll be over here with the cutie. So, but that's more rare that happens when we go out. Let's see. Next question. How do I get? Oh, I just got this one recently from someone on IG. So shout out to you. This is your question. How do I get over my fear that my partner will love his or her other partner more than me?
That was a big one. That was the one that...
Oh, you gonna take this one?
I am gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. That was the one that kept me from deciding to be polyamorous. It was that question. I had a really big fear about, what if you fall in love with somebody and you love them more than me and y'all run off into the sunset, like that. Right. Exactly. So that was that was a big fear of mine. I got over that fear by just being honest and saying, if that happens, then it happens. Like, it can happen whether I decide to be polyamorous or not. It can happen without my consent.
That's true.
So that was kind of a thing.
I mean, it's not true, but it's true.
I mean, right, because it could happen. Exactly. You're trying to be funny. And so, that was one of the things I told myself is this can happen either way. It happens all the time. So me saying yes or no isn't going to change it. And I thought it would be a good test, honestly, to test the love, test what we built, test our relationship, our commitment, like, let's see what we're made of, what we've been doing for the past decade, and once I kind of came to those kind of conclusions, it was like, well, what do I really have to lose? And then also just having security, in what we built, and trusting you and trusting when you tell me, no, I love you and I want to add and not subtract. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Or replace.
Right, exactly. And so, all those things combined just made me say, hey, fuck it. Let's give it a go and let's see what happens. So that's my end.
So, I mean, it's not just a woman that has to deal with this question. A guy has to deal with this question too in a situation. Or any other partner, right? If you two ladies or you two men, like, you both have to still deal with that question of, man, like, what if my partner falls in love with somebody first? Or what if I fall in love with somebody first? But to answer the question more pointedly, I think you have to ask yourself, do you even trust the person you with in the first place?
Yeah.
If you don't trust the person, like, that's where you should start, really, right? Do I even trust them to be in a relationship with them to this degree, right? To this point, this fear that like you're going to lose something, leads us back to all sorts of things like ownership, like self-worth. How do you see your relationship transitioning and growing in the future, because people change. No one's gonna go from 20 to 40 and be the same person, right? And so you just have to see yourself as someone that is secure, as you talked about. Like, am I worthy? Do I love myself despite whatever may happen? Am I gonna be good? Right? Because again, your partner could go on a road trip and meet somebody that's crazy wonderful and everything that they ever dreamed of, and they could choose to be with that person. Not say that's what's going to happen, but you just have to be secure in who you are in your relationship with this other person. Otherwise, you probably shouldn't even be having a conversation of polyamory.
Agreed.
So that would be how I would approach that. And so for me, in this particular situation, our relationship, I felt very secure, and what we built and who we are. Yeah. We've been together for quite some time, and we've been through a lot together. And when I say a lot, I do mean a lot. And all the transitions, and you can hear a little bit about this in episode 1, all the things that we've been through. We talked about that. But, having gone through all of that to get to where we are, this is my life partner for sure, for the rest of my days, Hopefully I meet her in the next lifetime, because beautiful queen. So I definitely, have that trust. And,
Boom. Next question.
You take this one.
Do you have rules? If so, what are they? You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So, no, we do not have rules.
No rules.
No rules. When we first started,
hella rules.
We had a lot of rules. Man, a lot of rules.
Don't pull them up.
No, I gotta pull up the rules.
We had what was one of the rules? We had like certain times that we could take phone calls or text messages.
It was called, and I have it right here too.
Oh my goodness.
Open Marriage Protection Guidelines.
So they weren't rules. They were protection guidelines.
They was rules. It was rules. So here's one. Priority. We are primaries.
Oh,
we will prioritize our marriage and time with each other above our relationship with potentials. Now, some of these rules, like,
we didn't know.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
And this is like normal. This is what probably most couples that enter into polyamory do, is try to create something to protect themselves and to be insulation from anything external. But honestly, looking back, that's not the best approach.
No.
Right? Communication and honesty, being authentic and open and trust. And to some degree, you do have to take baby steps. So I wouldn't say like don't have any rules, but understand that try your best to outgrow the need for rules.
Yeah.
Because what that signifies is that your partner knows what limitations you have.
Yeah.
Because everybody has limitations, right?
Yeah.
If I said, oh, I'm going to just go out here and, just sleep with a woman every night,
and bring them home
when I want to, come home when I want to, just do whatever I want,
Right.
That probably wouldn't fly, right? Because that changes the dynamic of what we are trying to build, which is important enough to have goals. But nonetheless, moving on to the next one. So, people off limits, friends, family members, and coworkers. So
this is still in place.
So this one is still in place, but it's not necessarily from a rule perspective, but a messiness perspective, right? We're not trying to I wouldn't even want to do that, right? Because I may affect a relationship that's good because I encroach upon something that probably shouldn't be there in the first place. So I wouldn't say I look at that as a rule, but that's just like something I just wouldn't want to do, and if I ever did, then we need to have a conversation, right? But I'm not trying to date your cousin and stuff like that. That's kind of weird in the first place, right? And then with the thing with coworkers, like I wouldn't want to date coworkers, period, right? Because that would just actually I wouldn't. because again, like I gotta go to that place for work or provide a service, and I'm not trying to bring extra in. It just, for me, it don't work.
Gotcha.
Dating days, 3 max per week. Overnights, no back-to-back overnights. Overnights is when you spend a night with your partner outside of us. So her partner or my metamor, she would spend with them overnight. So he's like, no back-to-backs. And intimate first. This one right here. Intimate first must be done together first. We have all these intimate first. Like, don't go to a concert with nobody else because we haven't been to a concert before together. Don't get 420 friendly with somebody before you get 420 with me, because I never done it before.
Right. Or tattoos.
Right.
Don't get a tattoo without me.
No. That was our insecurities or our us witnessing our vulnerabilities come to the surface.
Very true.
And so,
I'm glad you stopped reading those.
There's tons of more. But we probably had like 19 or something, 17. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But,
so no, we don't have any rules.
We don't have any rules anymore. Talk on the phone as late as you want. Have an overnight. Just be considerate. And just communicate.
Yeah.
If you want to get a tattoo of somebody, go get a tattoo. Like, you your own person.
Yeah.
So,
back to ownership.
Yeah. Let's see. People often ask, what's their role if they become involved with them?
Yeah. I feel like I do get that one a lot. Like, where, they ask, like, what's my place? Like, where do I stand? Am I just going to be, like, on the side or something of that nature? Yeah,
and that's when we kind of just really inform them of the goal and talk about what it is that we want in partners, and we want lifetime partners, and we're searching for somebody who really gels and gets it and wants to be a part of something along those lines.
And I feel like a lot of people kind of jump the gun, and that's why I like to say it's not that different dating than you do when you're monogamous. You know what I mean? Like, let's get to know each other.
Let's start with hello.
Yeah, right. Let's get to know each other. Let's go out on a couple dates. Yeah. Let's see if we have chemistry. Let's see if we like each other. Let's see if we want to see each other more than this first date. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then if we do, then we'll go out a couple times a week, or and like you just grow into it.
It's a progression,
right? So, what's your role? Just get to know me. Let me get to know you. Let's see if we like each other.
Oh, you the dishwasher? Like, no, it's not like there's these set roles of what you will be. You're not this prop coming into the relationship that we stand here when we want to use you or interact with you. Then you come into play. No, like, this is a balanced relationship we want to create where everyone is equal and everyone's on the same playing field. And we have history together, but that doesn't change the history that we're going to create together, right?
True. Yeah.
Does your husband get mad? Do I get mad?
No, not about being polyamorous.
Oh. Okay.
So
anything else you want to add to
that?
No,
that's it.
No, I don't get mad when she goes out and she spends time with her partners or someone new or just a brand new date. I just try to make sure she's safe. Hey, let me know where you're going and what the person name and what they look like. But other than that, like, have fun. Just be safe. Let me know. Around the time you're gonna probably get back, if if it's like with a partner, with a partner that you've been seeing for a while. If you're gonna do it overnight or whatever, okay, cool. Just let me know you're doing it overnight, so I know I'll be watching the kids for the night, or something like that, or to lock up, But no, I don't get mad,
No, you don't get mad.
No, I actually have a bit of compersion. Like, I like helping you sometimes get ready or telling you look nice or
pretty cool.
Talk to you about like what the person's like. Are you excited? And
don't forget your mittens.
Inside joke. Anywho, but I want to know details sometimes when you get back.
Yes.
Sometimes it's like pull a teeth, but that's okay. Teach his own.
I like to keep it a little close to the vest.
A little close to the vest until it becomes something. I understand.
Yeah.
I get it. So, let's see. Do you get jealous?
Yes. That's my answer. Next, do you have an answer? That was the question. The question was, do you get jealous?
Right. If
yes.
so, how?
That's not the question, sir.
It says right there. If so, how?
I mean, yeah, I get jealous. In the beginning, I got jealous in a bad way.
Real love, real talk.
Right. And then I got, you got to do the self-work. You got to do the self-work.
Osho.
You have to, read books and get some self-love and talk to your partner.
Get support.
Yeah. And just work those things out. You're not going to make it if you don't.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it if you don't. If you're, I was telling somebody today, if, you're going to get jealous. I feel like you're going to get jealous. It might be little, it might be humongous, but I feel like it's going to happen. And when it does, you need to look within instead of pointing at somebody else and other people. Right. So when you look within and you say, why am I feeling like this? Yeah, absolutely. Why am I feeling like this? Are my needs being met? What is the actual problem? And you address those things. And if it's something I do need to address with you, then we can talk about it and, really dig deep and figure that out. But 9 times out of 10, it's because I want to own you. I still have, working through the ownership mindset and just feeling insecure about something. So that's my problem, not his. Yeah.
Do I get jealous? Rarely. Rarely do I get jealous. The one time I truly remember feeling jealous was you were going to see your partner, and she plays guitar from time to time and sings. And I know that's something like it's super personal, super private. Like you don't do it in front of anybody, really. Like you've done it in front of me maybe like a handful of times. Mm-hmm. And I saw you grab your guitar, and I think we even had a little tip for tat even before then. But you're going out, and I saw you grab a guitar, and I called you when you got to the car, and I was like, "Are you gonna sing for him?" So that's the one time I got jealous, and that was because I knew it was super, super like important to you. But then you're like, "No, like he just wants to play the guitar, he just wants to check it out," and I was like, "Okay." But that was the one time I did find myself jealous. But typically, like, no, like, go do you, like,
so mature.
Yeah, no, like, I typically don't get jealous. If anything, I just want everything to be equal, right? Like, if you can be out for overnight and be gone for like 24 hours, like, I need to be able to, like, when I do it, I don't want to hear that.
Right, no problems.
No problems,
Right.
But that's it, and I don't see that as jealous.
I agree.
How did you feel when you were first intimate with someone else? Like, this is a question I've gotten. I think this is a question you've gotten. Man, this is like a personal question. I don't need to know all this. No. I think it's a good question because, it's something that like you, one, will look forward to. And I think it's also one when you are there in that situation, especially if you've been with your current partner for a long period of time. Now, if you do solo poly, it's probably not that big of a deal. It's like any other time, that you are with somebody and having that unique intimate experience, having sex. But in our scenario, I think it's a little different because we've been together for like over a decade. And monogamously, right? Like we've never like, I guess that's another question coming up, but like we've been together for a decade, right? And so being with somebody else, it was kind of like mind wrecking because like in the moment, like you're getting fresh, like it's exciting and so forth, but then like you start thinking about like your spouse, your wife, you're like, oh shoot, like this is really about to go down, like. And it's not cheating because you both agreed to it.
Right.
But it is like a different world. Like you never, like, I know her. You know what I mean? Like I know her body. I know what she likes and so forth. But with this new person, like everything's brand new. Right. So that's both equally exciting. And it's a little scary too. Like, okay, like I'm about to see if I'm really good at what I do. You know what I mean? And I was.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. No, but on a serious note, though, like, those things really do, especially, I think, I don't want to say especially, but for a man, you know what I mean? Like, after being with somebody, you know, you wonder if you're rusty or, you know, you just know what one person likes and so forth. So those things can be challenging. And then, like, I won't say you feel a little guilt, but, like, you do feel like, man, everything's different. Everything is different. Like, I've changed the game now. You know what I mean? Like, there's no going back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gets to that point where you like, okay, am I really willing to do this? Because once I do it, there's no putting the cookies back in the jar. You know what I mean? Like, them cookies getting ate. Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes, the cookies are getting...
The cookies can't go back in the jar. You can't put the cookies back in the jar. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. They've been baked. They've been taking out the baking sheet. They've been putting in the jar. You can't get them. Anywho.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, like, you got them cookies and you just can't put them back. So...
are you done talking about cookies?
I think you should just talk.
Okay.
Now. Yeah.
So I guess I would, say the same sentiments minus the cookies. But yeah, it was...
Pillsbury?
No. It was weird. It was weird. And then, as a woman, you're kind of like, are they going to like me?
And then I went first.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I was the first one to...
Yeah. So with him being the first one, what was that movement you just did? Okay. So with him being the first one, I didn't really have like feelings of guilt or anything like that because I was like, yo, he already got it in. So, it's my time to shine. So I had a little,
Is that really? I don't remember you saying the shine part.
Not the shine, but, it was kind of like you already went. So, okay. I felt better about going second. Time
to get mine.
Right. Yeah, I feel better. But, you feel uncomfortable, you feel nervous, you feel all those things. Yeah. Like when you're first with somebody. I mean, at least I do. I don't know about everybody else. But you just feel those same kind of jitters, first time kind of jitters when you're with someone new. And then when you've been with the same person for 10 years, it's weird. Like, I mean, I'd never kissed another man, in 10 years or hugged another man in 10 years. So to, like, get naked with somebody and do, like, yeah, it was...
And I think also, like, you learn more about yourself. You learn what you like, what you don't like, like, because the other person that you get with may want to explore other things that, like, you never, like, been cool with or used to or whatever. Like, you learn a little bit more about yourself, and then you learn about that person you're with, and you build something unique between the two of you, and that helps with the intimacy and the bonding and
yeah. So it was definitely an enjoyable experience. But it definitely was. It was an enjoyable experience. I'm sure yours was too. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the answer to that.
Let's see.
How did you feel when your partner was intimate with someone else? It was tough for me. Like I said, you went first. So yeah, it was tough.
And then on top of that, I actually flew
out of state
because my partner was long distance.
Yeah.
And, flew out of state.
So it was like a 4-day extravaganza that he had. It
was 3 days. Like,
it was like
we don't need to go. We don't need to revisit
that was
this.
a whole right
because that was a whole little thing.
So I'm answering. So it was a 4-day extravaganza that he had. And yeah, it was tough. Like I had to call the homies and get support and read books and love myself, and I had to keep busy because it was tough.
Now
the first time I felt like.
Now, mind you, you were the one that suggested it.
Absolutely, I wanted to get it done. I want to rip the Band-Aid off. I don't want to wait 9 months. I'm constantly thinking about the sex. The first time he's gonna sleep with somebody. Like no, like let's get her done. Like I get her done. I'm sorry, retract that. But like I'm a rip the Band-Aid off. Like let's get through it. I felt like that was like a big hump. I felt like that was a big milestone, and I wanted
kind of an elephant in the room type thing.
And I just wanted to pass that so it wouldn't be this looming thing. So now it's not too bad.
Yeah. I I personally didn't have like great turmoil or anything like that. Like I knew it was coming like a month and a half beforehand. Like we like talked this out. You know, it wasn't just like tomorrow or hey, I'm out with so and so and I think it's gonna get fresh. Like it wasn't like, you know, that kind of a notice. It was a lengthy notice, you know. And so I knew that they were gonna have a special weekend together and cool, you know, like that's what it is, you know. I did it, you know what I mean? I can't be like, oh, don't you dare, you know, like how could you, you know?
Right.
No, you know, and I recognize this is also, I think, something unique and special to our situation, and then I think to me as well, because I don't think there's a lot of men out there that'll be like, man, there's no way in the world I could let somebody get at my woman, you know what I mean? And like they have this, you know,
my woman
ego, and you know, so forth. And I'm not saying like that necessarily is even a bad thing, because I think that comes from a place of a man wanting to protect her and what they have together, you know what I mean? But I do think it also derives from a place of ego, because that same person typically will say like, but I can do it, or I want to do it, right? And there comes a need for balance and like equality, you know, in a relationship, and I'm like all for that, you know. So
yeah.
And if you watch or if you listen to the first episode, you'll know that like that took me time to grow into as well. You know, It wasn't just immediately I was like, oh yeah, you know, go for it, you know.
Yeah.
But I definitely like went through my mind and like I processed that time I knew you were gone and off doing your thing, and I had a partner that was supportive, and like I talked to her about the situation and we kind of reflected, you know, and so that helped, you know. Support is key.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Did you tell your family, and how did they respond? I think this question is really about like coming out as poly.
Yeah. I told my mom pretty much the next day after we decided to be poly or open things up, and she was cool about it. You know, she just was like, "Is this really what you want?" And you know, I support you. I love you, and live your life. That was kind of her thing, you know. And she said like, people cheat all the time, and marriages break up over, you know, people cheating and not being honest. And so she was like, you know, kudos to you, basically, is what she told me. Like, good for you that, you know, you're honest enough, and you know, you and Jay are able to talk about these things and work through it. So that was how, you know, my mom responded.
Okay. Yeah, your mom's super cool. Shout out to moms. Shout out to moms. Super cool. Has been there for us a lot throughout the years. Like, always been supportive, and so yeah, that's kind of to be expected. So with my family, it was a little different. I have a large family, lots of brothers, lots of sisters, and my mom. So when I told them, I chose to tell each one of them individually, and then I asked each one of them not to say anything until I told everyone.
And there's like 9 of y'all. So.
11. So, but yeah, 9 that I actually engaged with on a regular basis. But I said, this is what I've chosen to do. You know, Cody and I, Kay and I, you know, we've decided to open things up, and you know, we want to be polyamorous, and you know, this is the lifestyle we now are living and leading, and so yeah, that's kind of how it happened. And I told each one of them, and each one had a slightly different reaction. You know, some was like, man, do you? Some was like, man, I totally get it, I'm Muslim. You know, some was like, man, that's great. Others were like, that's nasty. Why are you doing this? That, you know, I don't agree with it. The Bible says this. Some was like, man, I couldn't do that, but more power to you. And some even came back and was like, man, it's not you. Like, you know, this is not who you are, and da da da. But, you know, y'all live your life. This is what I've chosen. And sometimes, you know, people don't always change and grow with you. And so they don't always recognize you when you make certain choices, because they just see you as, oh, that's that's, you know, a little so-and-so from back in the day, or, you know, man, I remember when you was little, you know, like you used to do this and that and so forth. So what if you decide to become monogamous again? Then what happens?
Yeah,
some people are already thinking about the future.
Right. Yeah, I got that question today, actually. And one, I said I'm 99.9% sure I would never want to be monogamous again. And then, you know, I said if that did happen, because, you know, we want to be in like a quad kind of situation where we live together and all that. So I said, you know, if that did happen, either one, the quad would break up, you know, depending on how other people took that or how adamant I was in me wanting to be monogamous. Or I would just be the monogamous one. I would be one person and everybody else would kind of continue on. You know, we would still live together. So that was kind of my answer.
Yeah, I personally don't think I would ever go back to being monogamous.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a desire to go back to.
No.
And it's not because, oh, I don't love you anymore, I don't care about you anymore. It's that, you know, I want to build and meet with other people, you know, and it's really important to me that that option be there, you know. And I think, you know, this life is meant for exploration, you know. Absolutely. And it's meant for growth, and it's absolutely meant for you to, you know, leave your old shell behind and build a new one. You know what I mean? Like, because you constantly growing. You know, it's like, you know, your clothes that you wore in 3rd grade don't fit you when you're in 6th grade. You know, because you've outgrown them. You know, right. And to cry about going back to those clothes that no longer fit you, you know, there's nothing you can do about that. Like you've grown.
In that analogy, I'm not clothes.
No, you're not the clothes. Okay. But who you were the clothes. Right? Like, I used to be a Christian. I'm never going back to being Christian. Sorry, not sorry, you know. But there was once a time where I wore the clothes of a Christian, you know, and I wore the thinking and the beliefs and the ways of life and the traditions that a Christian held, you know, that holds, you know. And now I don't, right? So those clothes really, if I were to try to put them on, they wouldn't fit, you know, they wouldn't suit me anymore, you know, they wouldn't meet my needs. And it's the same thing with, I think, you know, being monogamous. Cool. How long have you been polyamorous? How long y'all been doing this thing?
11 months?
Yeah. Well, it's March now, so technically, if we go from April to March, basically. But we haven't fully closed that gap yet. End of this month, it'll be
a year.
It'll be a year.
There we go.
Do your kids know? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, our kids do know. We have 3 children, 2 living. And our eldest of our living, he's 8, about to turn 9.
I'll be 9.
Whew, time flies. But he knows. Yeah. And our youngest is 1. And there's nothing really to know right now besides mommy, daddy love each other, I guess, and to witness that. But our 9-year-old does know. 8-year-old, excuse me. 8-year-old does know. And you know, just the other day he was asking about one of our partners. Like, when is so and so gonna come over? You know, like, is so and so gonna come over for my birthday? And I was like, oh, we'll see. You know. But yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you like your spouse's partners? And one thing we could talk about in another episode, in the future episode, is how do we tell him?
Oh yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Do you like your spouse's partner? This is a really interesting question because I'm sure this is a concern for a lot of people who are thinking about entering into polyamory. Just from a perspective like, man, will I really care for this person? Now, a lot of people won't have to deal with this the way we're thinking about dealing with this because some of you guys who are polyamorous, you know, like, you don't ever have to see your partner, right? Because you're not trying to do a live-in situation, and because we want to live with our partners, this becomes a much more important question.
Yeah, I've liked all of your partners. They've all been very nice women. So, yeah. No, seriously.
You like them all?
Yeah.
You like them all? Okay, cool.
The ones that actually became partners. Like, there have been people that you've been talking to.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, ugh.
And I think on probably 99% of them, I'm like right with you. Like, nah, she wouldn't even be a good fit.
Yeah, but anyone that's actually been a partner, they've been nice. You pick, you have good taste.
I got good taste.
Have good taste.
I think I do.
I know you do.
Okay,
I know you do.
For me, I've enjoyed getting to know all of your partners. They've been nice people. I don't think there's been one that's like who's been your partner. I'm like no, absolutely not. Like, you need to just dump them tomorrow. Like, no. I feel like, again, our situation is a bit more unique. It goes a bit beyond just whether or not I like your partner. You know what I mean? It becomes a question of, are they a good fit? And you have to ask, me the same thing. And we talk about that, because it's important. We want to grow and build with people that are like-minded, ambitious like us, and do things, and you know what I mean, like that mesh well, and that's going to be really in any relationship, especially if you think about a monogamous one, right? Like, you're not going to just get with someone you just settling for. You want someone who you gel with and you mix with.
I just thought about one of those rules we had about the veto. Having veto.
Yeah. So we used to have this guideline rule where we could veto one of our partners. So if I had someone, a young lady that I really like, but she couldn't stand her, she's out of here.
Which is not cool.
That never happened.
No, it didn't.
And we never utilized the rule.
No.
Again, it was just one of those things you recognize you have a vulnerability and you're afraid that, man, what if they get with somebody and I don't like them? I should have the ability to veto them. But we never implemented that. That quickly went away, Actually, by the time we had our first date, she had already said, I don't want you to have rules. Within like 2.5, 3 months, about 3 months, you're like, I don't want any rules,
I'm glad you said that, because I was going to say, I want the record to reflect that I was the one that said, let's do away with the rules.
And on that first date, in front of the person we're dating, I told you, no more rules. Yeah. So we kind of both came to that conclusion that like we didn't want that.
Yeah.
And you were willing to actually let me keep the rules enforced on you.
Yeah.
If I so wanted to, but you told me no rules.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a very sweet thing and show a lot of love and trust and willingness to be vulnerable and to allow me time to become comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And recognizing that your growth is not necessarily my growth, And I thought that was a lot of maturity.
Real quick, another question that I get a lot is, did your husband talk you into this? Or whose idea was this? I get that one a lot.
Definitely answer that one.
Yeah. So, to answer the question, no, you did not talk me into this. I actually kind of brought it up first and wanted to test those waters, if you will.
And to some degree, you actually talked me into it.
Yeah. But I get that a lot. Like, a lot of people assume that, that you were the one that kind of brought it up or, molded me or forced me or whatever. Right. But people assume that. And so I always find that funny. Because it's like, actually, I was the one that opened the door up for that. Yeah, but I get that question a lot.
Yeah. And you've always kind of... not really. Not really. I think they assume. I think it's probably an assumption they make. Okay. Like, but a lot of times they'll say like, oh, what made you guys decide to do this together? They ask that, something like that. But I think the assumption is like, as far as like who brought it up. Yeah. A lot of people I think just assume that it's the guy.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw that in.
No, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Let's see. Another question. How do you feel about sharing your husband or wife?
I feel like we kind of answered this.
You know what? Actually, we're gonna do a 2-part.
Okay, cool.
So this is it for part 1. Stay tuned. You want that answer? But how do you feel about sharing your husband or wife? Because I think that's a really good question, and the answer might surprise you. So stay tuned for episode number 3, in which we finish up these FAQs. So stay tuned for that. We're just gonna break it up. It's kind of long. It's 48 minutes. That's a good time to pause.
Okay.
And we about halfway through the questions. So
All right.
All right.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
All right. This has been Poly Table Talk. See you in the
Peace
next
out.
episode.